Have you ever considered the liberating power of not giving a F? It's a provocative question, isn't it? Well, it's also the central theme of a rather influential book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F by Manson. This book isn't about indifference or apathy, rather it's about understanding that giving a F about everything equally simply isn't productive or beneficial. It leads to unnecessary stress, emotional turmoil, and a general sense of dissatisfaction. Manson's perspective is compelling, daring us to reassess our values and priorities. He challenges us to give a about fewer things but the right things, the things that truly matter to us, the things that make us feel alive, fulfilled, and content. It's a subtle art indeed. But the question remains, so what should we give a about? Well, let's dive into the chapters and find out. Chapter 1 hits us with a counterintuitive thought: don't try. It introduces us to this fascinating concept of the feedback loop from hell. It's a nasty cycle where our obsession with always being positive and successful just adds more stress when we inevitably fall short. It's like pouring gasoline on an already raging fire of self-doubt and discontentment. Manson, the author, proposes a different approach. Instead of striving to be an unrealistically flawless version of ourselves, we should embrace our imperfections and limitations. It's not about settling for less, but recognizing that we are human, and it's okay to have flaws. Our society's constant push for positivity can be counterproductive. It's like trying to force a square peg into a round hole. It just doesn't fit. Acceptance, however, is like water. It flows, adapts, and finds its own level. The less you try to be something you're not, the more authentic you become. Chapter 2 presents an intriguing idea. Happiness is a problem. Now, you might be thinking, what on earth does that mean? But bear with me. Manson turns the concept of happiness on its head. He argues that in our quest for happiness, we've made it into the ultimate goal, the end-all and be-all. But, Manson suggests, this is a flawed approach. According to him, suffering is a part of life. It's not something we can or should avoid. In fact, it's through suffering that we find our path to happiness. The struggles we face, the problems we grapple with, they're not obstacles to our happiness. Instead, they're the very things that shape it. Think about it. Isn't it true that solving a problem brings a sense of satisfaction, a feeling of accomplishment? That's happiness, isn't it? So let's not aim for a problem-free life. Instead, let's embrace the problems and find our happiness in solving them. To quote Manson, happiness is a constant work in progress. Chapter 3 may sting a bit. You're not special. Manson, in his characteristically blunt manner, argues that the belief in our own exceptionalism can be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it can drive us to achieve extraordinary feats. On the other hand, it can breed a sense of entitlement and lead to a chronic state of dissatisfaction. Manson asserts that when we perceive ourselves as special, we create an expectation that the world should recognize and reward our uniqueness. When it doesn't, we feel cheated. This entitlement, Manson argues, is a happiness killer. But here's the counterintuitive truth. Embracing our ordinariness can be the key to contentment. Recognizing that we are part of a vast, complex world, that we are not the center of it, can be deeply liberating. It allows us to let go of unrealistic expectations and to find joy in the simple, everyday moments. Being ordinary is not a downfall, but a liberating reality. Now that we've delved into the first 3 chapters, let's talk about how to apply these lessons. To start with, we can all agree that life is a series of choices. Every day we make countless decisions, some insignificant, others life-altering. But the trick, as Manson puts it, is not to give a flying fudge about everything. It's about selecting the battles worth fighting for, the things that truly matter. Choose wisely what to care about. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent or apathetic. It's about being selective with your emotional energy. Next, let's discuss the art of embracing our flaws and limitations. It's not about being perfect or creating a flawless persona. On the contrary, it's about accepting our imperfections and admitting our mistakes. It's about confronting our fears and failures, not running away from them. We all have flaws and limitations. Recognizing them helps us grow and evolve. So let's stop hiding our imperfections and start embracing them. Now onto the concept of problems. Problems, as Manson beautifully puts it, are a part of life. They aren't something to be avoided or feared. Instead, we should embrace them as opportunities for growth and learning. Problems are not roadblocks, but stepping stones towards a better version of ourselves. So let's stop fearing problems and instead see them as challenges to conquer. Lastly, we need to understand our ordinariness. Yes, we all want to feel special, unique, and exceptional. But the truth is, we're all ordinary in many ways, and there's nothing wrong with that. Being ordinary doesn't mean we're insignificant or unworthy. It simply means we're human, with all the beauty and messiness that it entails. So let's celebrate our ordinariness. Let's find joy and contentment in the simple, everyday moments of life. Remember, the key to a content life is not giving a about less, but in a more meaningful way.